If you know, you know. I was looking for something more relatable. That would be so hypocritical of me. If you went to the high school I went to, then you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Change is inevitable.
Hey girl, hey, welcome back to another video. If you are new here, my name is Imani. I'm your internet homegirl. And if you are not new, hey girl, we finna figure out in today's Get Ready With Me girl chat why the freak I don't have friends at this grown age of mine. I'm over it. But honestly, I'm down for a different perspective. So please let me know if I'm missing something or I went wrong. So what did Erykah Badu say? I think I made a wrong turn back there somewhere. Please let me know if that was my case. Please do. Don't talk about the way I look right now, okay? Get ready with me to go absolutely nowhere. I'm coming here to vent and talk to you, friend, because I've been feeling this way for a little while and I know I can't be the only person in this boat. So I figured I'd come on here and talk to y'all and see if I could find some people that understand exactly what the heck I'm talking about. So I am currently 27 and I feel like trying to make friends in your 20s is already super freaking hard and almost discouraging. I'm not even gonna lie to you. Like, I feel like if you already have friends in your 20s, that stems from like, y'all probably grew up together or like, you know, college of some sort. Like, I feel like there's some underlying backstory as to how you and this person have been friends or your like friendship came about, which naturally so makes sense. But like realistically speaking here, in my case, I don't have that. And I feel like this is something worth talking about because most of the time, the girlies that don't have these friends, and maybe let me say this for myself, because I know for me, at some point I thought like, is it me? Like, am I not a good friend? Is it me that can't keep a friend? Because realistically, the way I see friendships is the equivalent of having a relationship as far as like a committed one, because it's just that, it's a commitment. You would think like, oh, if we're friends, you know, girl, I'm not saying we have to talk all the time, like if you are in a committed relationship or anything like that, but like, you know, hit me up. I'm gonna hit you up to make sure you're doing all right. And, you know, I hope you do the same and vice versa. Like, we hang out, like we're in a relationship essentially, like loyal to each other. I feel like obviously it's so much easier to make friends as kids because it's literally as simple as like, oh, we're outside playing or, you know, in the same class or we're doing the same sport. It comes easy that way. And then also when you have your friends in the neighborhood, it makes life also a lot more easier because it's just like, oh, my friend's up the street and that's all I gotta do is go next door, go up the street to go see my friend, and that's that. Boom, shebang, we're good. And then it's like you're not really out seeking friendships as a kid. It kind of just happens naturally. So the pressure is immediately removed from, not even pressure, like the awkwardness is like removed, at least like when you're in elementary, because I can say that it does get a little awkward in high school, especially if you're like the new kid on the block. But that's I'm gonna touch on that later on too. Okay, so for me personally, so my life growing up, I was a military kid. Okay, my mom was in the army, and if you're a military brat, then you know exactly what I'm gonna say. You know, there's always kids around you. You know, you're probably playing around your neighborhood with these same kids. You guys went to the same school. Easy fix, right? Now, the downside to this is the constant PCSing. And for those who don't know, one of my brows look thicker than the other, and that is blowing my mind. But like I was saying, for those of y'all that don't know what PCSing means, it's another military term for picking up and moving. Like you're getting relocated to a different duty station. That's what PCSing means. So if you're familiar with that, then you know most of the time the friendships that you make in your childhood, 9 times out of 10, they're not going to be for long. They're going to end up leaving at some point. However, the only plus side I will say with that is I was lucky enough to move to another state as a kid and run into those same friends that I literally knew in elementary school and saw them again in middle school. I mean, the same people I quite literally had at my 10th birthday party, I ran into again in middle school, and I actually loved it. Like, it was refreshing because I was like, okay, here's a chance for me to rekindle some friendships. Now, some of my other friends that I did have like in my neighborhood at the time before I moved states, you know, my girls, I'll never forget their names. When I say running down the street to play Barbies, our bikes were essentially BMWs, going up and down them streets, going to the store, sitting at the BX to go eat food. Like, we were always together. Sleepovers, like my mom was like the mom of like my friend group. Like, it was, I had girls from my age and I think some in middle school around that time. Like, we were thick as thieves. We were we were bad at sometimes, but that's not the point. But we definitely had, I had a tight friendship then. And in my mind, we were going to grow up together. Reality set in on what the military was like. And I was like, oh, so like I said, moving to Texas and seeing some of them again, it was great. However, once my mom got out, we did not stay in this second state that we ended up living in. We moved to Tennessee, and I was the new kid on the block. And I know you would think, oh, you were the new kid on the block in Texas, so what's the difference? So the difference for me in Texas was we were still in the military. And truthfully, when you're a military kid, there's no such thing as being the new kid on the block because you're always moving. Everybody's the new kid on the first day of school. You can't tell that you're the new kid. But like when you move to Tennessee in a place where there is no military kids at all, literally, I felt like blood in shark infested water. Like immediately people come to me,
oh, I can tell you're not from here.
and I was just like, no, no. And now I'm getting asked like, why you chose to live here? Baby, like I had a choice. If I had a choice, I would still be in Texas, okay? With my friends. And then Tennessee, oh my gosh. I won't lie, it was high key. I hate to say this, but it was a culture shock for me because people were so different there. Like when I tell you girls was beating up boys, boys was beating up girls, you would literally get checked for having a present father. What do you mean?
Dad came back from actually buying milk.
Like, what? Or don't let you make good grades.
So you was a smart, getting all the degrees, getting all the...
Yeah. Why am I being checked for being a 4.0 student? Okay, whatever. Yeah, got it. That was a place where like there was a gang for everything. Pencil pouch gang, 2 left tires on the car gang. You went down. It was a whole different culture that I was just like, oh, okay. But I adapted quickly by doing things that I knew would make me comfortable. And specifically that was doing cheer and running track. You would think that for the time that I was there, because I left Texas after I completed my 9th grade year. I ended up moving to Tennessee for my sophomore year. You would think that after doing those things to get me acclimated, I would form some kind of sisterhood, right? Not exactly. I will say I met one of my friends in the very first class in 10th grade, and she was really, really cool. That was one of my first friends. As far as cheer, I quickly noticed that the way friendships worked in Tennessee was most of the time you either got adopted, and I hate to say adopted, but you either got adopted by the popular girls immediately, and I don't really know what the criteria was for that, but it happened, or you grew up in this area and you going into this high school was just strictly based off of, oh, we were in the same neighborhood, we grew up together, like this is longevity here, like these people knew each other for years beforehand, like these aren't new relationships being formed. Now, as far as being adopted by the popular girls, honestly, my take on it when I got there was one of the popular girls, truth be told, was upset that I guess a boy that she liked me and decided that she was going to take subtle jabs at me from time to time with her and her friend group. And it was just really weird. It was just like, okay, I may not be from here, but I'm also not no punk. We're not gonna do this, because where I come from, not that where I came from gave me superpowers, because baby, I ain't never ran from a fight, but it was just like, you can get your beat, okay? This ain't that kind of party. It could be, but it ain't. So I let that be what it was. So like I said, I quickly noticed though that these friendships were already formed prior. This wasn't anything new. The only person that felt like it was making new friendships was really me in these classroom settings. So already only having this one friend, I also was okay and had to quickly adapt to the idea of being alone, because realistically, I'm not gonna lie, I didn't even want to move from Texas. I had my friends, I had my high school, I had everything in my mind. Like sports, to me, Texas, I cried when I freaking left from Texas, but I didn't have the choice then. I wish I did, because I would have been like, heck no, we're not leaving, obviously. Like these are important like milestones in my life that I feel like I need to stay here for. And needless to say, that didn't happen. So a lot of things that people got to experience in high school, I did not at least not until after. We're not going to get into that. That's a whole other story in itself. If y'all want to know, we can talk about it. But I was already okay with the thought of being alone because I was already dealing with my own personal traumas. I already didn't want to leave Texas. Now, I didn't make myself closed off. It was just I quickly noticed that this wasn't going to be be like the typical way of making friends just because of the two different lives. Mind you, like I said, my mom was no longer in the military. So these aren't military kids that understand the life. These are just people that already have their set in stone friendships from childhood. And I'm the new person in this. I'm the new fish literally in the pond. Now, as far as me joining track and cheer, so the dynamics in there, I met some amazing girls. I will say that you know, the word is really weird because I won't say friends because it's not like we texted each other outside of our extracurriculars that we did. It was just like, you know, when we were in uniform, we were on the court, we talked and we hung out. But as far as like actually having something outside of school, it wasn't like that. So it was really just like by association type of thing. And like I said, I joined cheer because that's what I was familiar with. I did cheer in middle school and I did track in middle school, and also I stuck with track in middle school and high school. So I was like, okay, to get comfortable, let me go do this. I really thought that I was gonna have more sisterhood, but also living in the state that I lived in, I quickly realized the drama that my school also held. And it was really interesting to see. And for a lot of it, I've seen some crazy stuff. I'm not even exaggerating. I've seen people get into a fight because somebody was supposedly lying about being pregnant, but was actually pregnant. The girl slams the daggone ultrasound on the table and everybody gets to fighting. And I mean, when I say everybody, I mean like it was a brawl of like 5 girls. Like it was crazy. And somehow somebody got let into the school. It was always something crazy. Like the school, there was a teacher that had an affair with a student. The wife came up, put them on blast, and a lot. Like literally my school, I really feel like it was something out of like a TV drama series. Like I know everybody could probably say that about their high school, but no. If you went to the high school I went to, then you know exactly what I'm talking about as far as the drama that was filled in with the school. Like even down to some of these teachers sleeping with the students. Yeah, it was crazy. Like I said, it was very interesting as far as the demographics of friendships in high school and how it formed with me. Now, over time, because I did graduate from this high school, I did make about, and when I say friends, I mean this in terms of like I texted these people, we did hang out outside of school. I would say I made, one more friend, and it was a gay guy, and I loved him down. Like, honestly, he was the new kid at the school at this time, and I just looked at him one day and I was like, we're gonna be friends. And we were stuck like glue. Like, if you saw him, you saw me, vice versa. Like, we were stuck like glue. We actually went to prom together. That was all I had outside of it. So it was just like, okay. Now, I quickly realized in my senior year, like, as we got older, okay, cool, you know, what school are you going to? We each had different ideas of how we wanted to approach, you know, life after high school. I can't remember what my guy best friend did, but I do know the girl at the time, she stayed behind, if I'm not mistaken, and did community college and then went to a university. I think, don't quote me, but that was because at that time we had scholarships to do, like, you know, if you did 2 years here at this local university, they would give you the rest of the 2 years, which looking back on hindsight, I wish I would have did that. But no, I was so hell bent on getting out of Tennessee just because of all the stuff that I experienced that I didn't even care. So I quickly realized that we had 2 different ideas of lives that we wanted. Now, I can't remember if she was from Tennessee. I'm gonna say she was. I really don't remember. Mind you, like this is like 2014 through 2016. So I don't really remember too much, but I will say that, like I said, we were best friends. I will say we were best friends. Like we were tight. Like these, like I said, people that I often hung out with, went to the movies, went out to eat, crazy stuff. Like told them all my secrets and everything. So for me, like once I left Tennessee to go to school in Alabama, and within reason, there's a reason why I did that. Like I said, I didn't want to stay in Tennessee, and then because there was so much trauma there too. Like I said, that's not really my story to tell too much. I can only tell my point of view, but I didn't want to be there in the first place. So, but with college, I was like, no, I want to get out of here. I want to experience something new. I was really keen on it. So going to school at the University of Alabama, I was like, okay, opportunity to start fresh, start new. And at this point, I had already knew, like, I was like, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to pledge. I'm going to join all these groups. Ha! Wrong. I didn't do any of that stuff. I did not. Like, I met a few girls and I went to my very first party with these girls or whatever. But once again, just very different people, very different walks of life, even in college. And honestly, the reason why me and these friends fell out of touch, like my high school friends, let me backtrack. So I know most people think, well, girl, why didn't you just keep the friends that you had in high school? So going into college, like I said, I wanted to get away. These people stayed back in Tennessee. And then I also had noticed by the summer, there wasn't really any reciprocity when it came to hanging out. I was often the one that reached out to people and, you know, checked in on them or would try to get us to do certain things. And then I noticed that the same wasn't happening for me. Now, I don't know about y'all, but I'm the kind of person that, like, if I'm your friend, you know, I'm gonna reach out to you. I'm gonna text you. It may not be all the time because I get it. We have different lives. I'm going to, you know, happy birthdays. I'm going to try my best to get to you, things of that nature. But then when you start realizing like nobody's messaging you, nobody's checking in on you, it's kind of just like, okay. And I know people think, well, you can't expect you out of somebody else. No, you're absolutely right. You cannot expect you out of somebody else. But what's wrong with wanting reciprocity? I don't get that. After a while, I kind of just started fading away because I realized that it wasn't going to be what it was anymore. And I just literally chalked it up as we outgrew each other. Like, we were high school friends and that was that. And even my mom asked, she was like, you know, when you come home during the summers, why don't you go hang out with, let me give them fake names, with Alexis and David. And I'm like, well, me and Alexis ended up having a falling out over something so stupid. Mind you, I'm big on keeping my promises. And I know people are like, girl, that was your friend. You should have just told her. That would be so hypocritical of me. And I say this because I am a person that people often confide in, often. And I take that with pride and I don't take that lightly because that means I'm a trustworthy person. So I got told something. This was major. I even promised a close member of this particular family that I wouldn't say anything about this particular person to anybody that asked what happened. So she was like, can you tell me what happened? And I was like, I really can't. And she was like, you mean like you won't or you don't know? I was like, no, I know, but I mean, I really can't. Now I know you're probably like, girl, you could have just been like, oh girl, I don't know. I don't lie. I don't feel the reason to lie. Like, it's stupid. Like, I did know, but I was told not to tell. And so she got mad at me because she was like, I'm gonna tell somebody, girl, it's not even that deep. And I was just like, it's not about me telling you and it not being that deep. The fact is that you've told me things, told me not to tell nobody, never told a soul. And for you though, you want me to go back on my word? And I know the person probably like, well, how was this person gonna know that you told me? They won't know that I told you, but I will. And then I'm gonna feel like that's just me. Like I said, the reason was stupid, but that happened. But it didn't matter anyway, because like I said, I had already voiced to my mom at this time, like back in high school at that, just the reciprocity. And she's heard the worst in my family drama. And I will say she's a real one for never saying anything about it. And I'm not saying that she was fake, because she was not fake at all. Like, she was a great friend. It was just, like I said, the reason that we felt it was kind of stupid. And like I said, it could very much have just been my fault. Some people will say like, oh girl, it was your fault. You should have just told your friend. Others will argue like, oh girl, no, you did the right thing. Like, it is what it is. So like I said, I had already told my mom, like, they already felt a shift. Like, it just felt like there wasn't the same reciprocity. And then as far as like I said, what he did in his personal time never bothered me. I don't care. He used to make me laugh. His shenanigans, like I said, were funny to me. But at the same time, his lifestyle, obviously, two different lifestyles. So when he did outside of school often didn't mesh with what I did. So, you know, there was just that. And then I can't remember, but if I'm not mistaken, a lot of times he was dealing with grown men anyway. But as far as college goes, like I said, it all boiled back down to like me saying, okay, well, I'll just say we've outgrown each other. We moved different lives. This is what happens. I had it in my mind already. You know, you find out who your true friends are when you go to school, and let that be what it was. Now, as far as pledging, I never got around to doing that, just for personal reasons. My whole goal with pledging was to find a sisterhood or have a sisterhood and just be a part of that. Like, I was okay, well, I don't have any friends. Let me go ahead and do this, not just for the sisterhood, but, you know, obviously because there was other reasons that I wanted to join. But I'm not gonna lie, like, it wasn't a big part of why I wanted to join. And then as far as the other girls like on campus and how they made friends, I really wasn't sure of it. Like, I won't lie, guys, I am a huge introvert. Like, it's easy for me to get on camera and talk to you guys realistically, because to me, it's just like, it's like a FaceTime call. Like, I can talk to y'all and let that be what it is. But when it comes to like in real time, I don't want to call it social anxiety. It could very much so be that. Like, I just find it hard. Small talk is weird to me. I don't really know what to do or say in real time. I really don't. Like, what you want me to be like, how's the weather? Ew. And then fast forward to like my junior year in college. So I had ended up joining the military, which is crazy. That's another thing. I joined the military and I thought I was going to make some lifelong friends in there too. And it didn't happen. That's why I'm starting to feel like, am I the problem? Like, is it me? Like, is it something about me? Is it my resting face? Like, what is it about me that I can't seem to hold on to a friendship? Like, I just don't understand it. Like I said, I have met some amazing girls. Were they younger than me? Yeah, they were. Once again, some other drama. Like, this one happened more so over... It's crazy because he's my husband now, but happened over my husband. Mind you, at the time, which I can get into in a story time if y'all want, it became awkward for us afterwards. And I was just like, okay, so I'm just gonna remove myself and let that be what it is. Fast forward again, we got married and I found out I was pregnant in school. I left, I was still in the military at this point, but I moved back home because he got stationed to where I'm from, where my family is. So it was just like, okay, cool. Now I've left school, never made any friends, didn't complete my degree, but that was by choice because I had a passion change. And if you've been here on my channel, you know exactly what I'm going to talk about. But if you don't, I could talk about it in another story time. But pretty much I came home and immediately became a wife and a mom. And not just any wife and a mom, a stay-at-home wife and a stay-at-home mom to a military member because I ended up getting out the military. So that's another stage that I feel like, where are my lashes at? And then getting married so fast and becoming a mom so fast, my demographics immediately changed. Like, as soon as I became a wife and a mom, it was like, boom. You can't be friends with single people. You can't be friends with somebody that doesn't have kids. Now I know you're probably thinking, girl, who said that? This is my thought process on it, okay? As a married person, right? What do I have to relate to a single person about? Unless they're about to get married, right? Or unless they're seeking relationship advice in regards to their significant other that they're actively like, oh, I plan on marrying this person. What does marriage look like? But as far as the single people that I'm referring to that was around me, these were single people with no other responsibilities other than themselves. They weren't taking any relationship seriously. So like, as far as my motherhood, I'm looking for a community now because, girl, I'm entering into something new and I have no idea what this is. I'm looking for a community. I need to know what the heck I'm getting myself into. So that demographics immediately changed my friend group. You would think that becoming a stay-at-home mom and wife and now veteran that I would immediately become friends with other military moms. No. For one, I didn't really have time to go out and make the friends because each of my kids I got pregnant with back to back. Quite literally, I think my oldest and my second born are 11 months apart. And then as far as my daughter, she's quite literally a year and a month. That's the demographics there. So I was in the house. I had no choice but to be in the house. I got these babies that I need to take care of. And then a lot of the women, or at least the ones that were around me, were way older than me. And not that I had a problem with making friends with older women. It was just, once again, I'm going through my own stuff. I'm trying to figure out this new life of mine. I was just looking for something more relatable. And I know you're like, oh, motherhood is relatable to all. That's not what I'm talking about. Like, this is the most if you know moment I could be like having with you guys right now. I was looking for something more relatable, okay? Relatable. And I just wasn't getting that because if anything else, those same people were doing exactly what I was doing. It's kind of hard to make friends with people that are doing the same thing you're doing because, baby, they're not coming out the house. They're focused on what they're focused on and that's it. With that change, social priorities changed, like just priorities in general, honestly. It wasn't just one thing. It was multiple things. Everything just changed. I just no longer suited the demographic of a single person. Now a single person or a person with no kids. So that completely changed for me. So now that I'm 27 with 3 kids and married, happily married at that, should I add, I feel like it's even harder to make friends because most of the time by now, people already have kind of like their 20s, early 20s, their established friend group. As far as the environment, I can never talk when I'm doing my lip liner, to making more friends. I don't really have that. Like, I'm not sitting around and in school meetings looking at other moms to make friends. That's not what I'm doing. And I'm not gonna lie, I feel like I am kind of putting the pressure on my son. He don't know this, but I'm kind of hoping he makes some friends. They, become really good friends. And then we just go from there. And then it's like, oh, okay, my husband, he's also in the military, and my son and your son, they're out to hang out. They're always talking about each other. Then I could be like, all right, boom, easy fix. Like, cool. So I don't know, maybe that'll happen later on down the line. And I think now, honestly, with all the healing that I've been going through and breaking generational curses, what I'm looking for in friendships now, we need something real, authentic, and needless to say, not childish. I don't want the drama. If you're out here cheating on your spouse, don't come near me. I can't be friends with you. And I know you're probably thinking, what does that have to do with you? Baby, if you're cheating on your spouse, how are you going to treat me as a friend? And then also, I am a faithful person. Me and my husband, we don't play that. Yes, we're going to look at you different. We're going to look at you crazy. This is a coven by God. And you're sitting there doing this crazy stuff in front of, no, we're not doing that. And then, like I said, I just want something that makes sense to our family dynamic, something relatable. We don't care if y'all having couple problems. We would rather sit there and be like, we can offer some couple advice. We can help each other out about stuff that does and doesn't work. I don't mind as friend groups growing together and asking for healthier marriages and parenting styles. I don't know. I have hope that I will find these things, but at the same time, it's like, girl, how are you going to find these things if you're not actively out pursuing them? And realistically, I feel like it comes from me not knowing how to approach it. So if you're watching this and you have any tips, please share them with me, because when I tell you, I legitimately don't know where to even begin. Please help me, because I feel like, for one, trying to break through with the small talk thing is already weird in itself. But I know for a fact that once I get past that, I am a certified yapper, especially if I start realizing we have a lot in common. I have a problem with over sharing too, which I'm working on, but that's just because I love being able to relate to other people. So in settings where I feel like you tell me something and then I spit back something out that's on my end, it's not me trying to one up you. I promise you it's not. It has everything to do with, girl, are we living the same life? That's quite literally how I feel. So there's that. But if you have any advice on what that's like, or if you're currently in the same boat as me, please let me know. Like I said, relationships now, friendships now, it's really entering a whole new commitment, marriage with somebody else. You have to be compatible. And that's the biggest reason why I'm I want to, but I'm scared, because if the dating pool is shit now from what people have told me, I can only imagine what friends are like. I see the TikTok stories. One moment you are friends, and the second something happens, people are quick. You can literally be friends one moment, something happens, and instead of talking to each other, somebody quickly runs, gets online, and they're already telling you about how they fell out with their best friend because of XYZ. And it's just dang, you didn't even give it a chance to figure out where the miscommunication happened. You didn't even give it a shot. Y'all instantly, I don't want that. I don't got time for that. I'm a big communicator too. So for me, it's just oh, something happened. And if I rubbed you the wrong way, because please believe, if you rubbed me the wrong way, I'm going to talk to you about it. But if I rubbed you the wrong way or did anything, I want the same thing and vice versa. I want you to be able to be Imani, girl, I don't know what that was, but don't do that again, friend. And I'm oh, girl, what happened? And then give me the chance to apologize and explain myself, not excuse myself, but explain myself, and we can come to an understanding. But if you already ready to be that bitch, then it's just oh yeah, this isn't gonna work. Cause I said, I'm a big communicator and I'm here to get to the root, but you ready to make some money off of TikTok. I'm all for making a coin, sis, but at what cost? That's where it's compatibility comes in. You have to be compatible with these people too. So I will say though, ultimately, all in all, what I really want in friendships, for one, is I would like to meet more married people, just because I want to have, double dates. I want to do cute stuff like that. And then also, I want to be able to talk to other couples and just, pick their brains about, how life works for them and their household, things of that nature. I want that relatability and somebody that understands what it means by if we're out right now and we're doing something and, a single person be oh girl, we gonna be out till 3 a.m. Baby, I got a family. Is that hair? Baby, I got a family to go home to. We can't do this. I got a man's. I'm trying to go get to bed. And then personally, what I want, is that hot? It is hot. And then what I want is preferably a couple that has a kid. And when I say a kid, you literally, it could be one kid, but as long as they're like my children's age in some facet, I would love that, because I would like to have play dates, you know, get my kids out, have them meet more people, and just have that. So like if my friend does come over, just tell the kids, all right, you know what, go hang out, go upstairs, go do what y'all do. I would like it for that reason and that reason only. Like there's relatability there. So like when we break out the mommy juice and we hit the girl, let me tell you what KJ did today. Then we can do that and just unwind as friends. And then I know it could be too much to ask for. And I know you're probably like, girl, if these are your requirements for dating, or not dating, for friendships, then girl, you may not ever find it. But I mean, what's the difference? People having standards in relationships and having standards and wants and wishes in their friendships. I don't think there's no difference. Similar lifestyles. You don't have to be military or have a military wife or husband or anything like that. You don't have to have that at all. But when I say similar lifestyles, you know, whether that's another stay-at-home mom and her husband is, you know, bringing in the money in, I would like that, just because we can relate on the aspects of what it means to be a stay-at-home mom, because that is not easy. And honestly, I'll probably make a whole new video on that, because yeah, that's another attribute that I feel like I would want. Like I'm really just looking for, where's my spray? Like I'm really just looking for genuine connection and friendship in that. And I would love it, just because I want something outside of my home that I feel like I can go to in certain moments. Not saying for any drama or anything like that. No, not at all. Or like marital stuff. Because the one thing I learned is you don't need to let everybody in your marriage. That's not the case. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm just talking about is just friendships. Like going out, like on girls' days. Like, you know, if I go get my nails and feet done, granted, I know my husband's not going to care about sitting in the nail salon with me, but you know, maybe I want my girlfriend in here with me to come and sit in the salon, and you know, we be in here getting our feet done, drinking our mimosas, and then enjoying our time away from the kids. That's really what I'm referring to. I would love that down. And like I said, just having mutual connections, and even for my husband, him having that, like for somebody to go golfing with him, like that's what we would really, really like. Like in this time in my life, I'm looking for more meaningful friendships that will actually pour into each other and grow together, and be able to say like, you know, our kids grew up together. We've been some really good friends to each other, you know, stuff like that. That's realistically what I'm looking for. I was going to hot comb this, but I'm not, baby. We're not doing, like I said, we're not going anywhere, but that's really what I'm looking for. But overall, like all in all, I say all in all to say this, like though now, like really thinking about everything I've just said too, like I understand that friendships are going to look different across lifestyles. I'm not saying it has to be this or that, otherwise it's going to be nothing. No, I'm okay with that. What I'm really looking for is the reciprocity and the understanding as far as, you know, the lifestyles that we do have in common, which is being married and being parents, for sure. But I understand that everything's going to look different across the board, and I'm okay with different, because it could open my eyes to something else. And I'm really hoping that, you know, one day, just in a random moment, maybe like real movie theater style, like, you know, not even movie theater, like, you know, what's those like dramas? Like I could be in Barnes and Noble and I'm, you know, over here editing, and then somebody come over and be like, oh my God, girl, I love your makeup. Can you tell me we have one? And we just sit down and talk. And she's like, I'm gonna go grab a matcha. And I'm like, oh girl, I like matchas too. And then like, we kind of just go from there. And it's just like, we've been day ones since that matcha moment. Like kind of like me and my husband, like on the first link up, we never left each other. And we're like 8 years in. That's what I'm hoping for. Like I'm hoping for one of those moments with a friend that really gets it. And then like, she has like, oh, I have a husband too, and I got a kid. And I'm just like, oh my God, like, where were you? Like, that's really what I'm like open to, and I'm really hoping for it. And who knows, maybe one day God will bless me with that friend, me and my husband with that friend group, or just set of friends that will be that for us. Now, let me know if you guys feel the same way, like, or was I just rambling on in this video today? Like, please let me know if you guys understood exactly where I was coming from, or if this is one of those things where it's just like, girl, like maybe you should have did this different. I'm ready to hear it all. Like I really just want to know, because like I said, I'm only 27 and I do have hope, but at the same time, I'm understanding that if it doesn't happen, I'm also okay with that, because I get it. Like everybody is on their own journey right now, especially in this time where we're all trying to figure it out. I'm seeing people move back home at 27, just trying to make life work. So I get it. But like, just let me know in the comments if you can relate to anything I said in this video today, because it does feel good to know that, you know, this isn't just me going through this. Like, we're all going through it, and maybe somebody could offer some other perspective that maybe I'm missing out on. But we are done. The face is sitting, and like I said, we got ready to go nowhere, but that is okay. That is okay. That is the luxury of being a stay-at-home mom. You can play in makeup. Thank y'all so much for tuning in and chatting with your girl, and I cannot wait to see you guys in the next video. Bye, girl.